All right. Time for another episode of Keeping Up with the Tariffs. A series that had to go on the back burner for a little bit because not much was going on with the tariffs. But things are picking up with the series again. Let's go. Keeping Up with the Tariffs. Maybe this is like a season 2 of Keeping Up with the Tariffs. We had the tariffs on all those MENA and Southeast Asian countries, as well as Japan, South Korea. Now we have the EU and Mexico. More tariffs. Let's go. Oh, and Canada as well. We're back with season 2 of Keeping Up with the Tariffs. Let's go. Let's go. A very popular series. I'm being a little goofy right now. But what? We got EU and Mexico criticizing Trump's proposed 30% tariff. We're back, dude. Let's go. More expensive vehicles. Listen, dude. Okay, dude. Yeah, I'm buying a European car. All right, fuck this America bullshit. I'm buying a Japanese car. Okay, give me a fucking Honda or Toyota. Maybe like a fucking goddamn. I was gonna say Mini, but I'm not getting into a Mini Cooper. Now fuck you. Not. Had enough of your shit, boy meets Mini. You thought you could bait me in with those like tiny little things. Nuh-uh. No. This is propaganda. I will ban you. Well, anywho, we're being extremely facetious, okay? The EU and Mexico have expressed disappointment at U.S. President Donald Trump's threat to impose 30% tariffs on their imports from August 1st. Mexico just criticized what it called Trump's unfair deal and insisted its sovereignty was non-negotiable, while the EU's chief, Ursula von der Leyen, I'm really bad with names, I'm sorry, threatened to take proportionate countermeasures if needed. Both said they would want to keep negotiating with the U.S. Again, it's really funny that he keeps trying to impose these tariffs, which is, against the rules of his own negotiated trade deal that he has with us being Canada and the Mexicans. We could just, sue him, right? The 35% tariff violates that threshold. These 30% tariffs also violate that shit. Because, again, he's a mad king who thinks that tariffs make money. This isn't a fucking video game, Trump, okay? This isn't like Factorio where, again, you take your machine, you plop it down like the cryptid that is the engineer in Factorio, and you plop down a bunch of fucking shitters with your mines and whatnot, belt in your fucking resources, put it in the machines, and start making finished products out of them. Not how that works. Listen, I know that there's probably a bunch of Factorio novices out there and factory builder novices out there. That's not how that works in real life. It's all gamified for reasons because Factorio is a good game. I'm sorry. Trump has warned he will impose even higher import taxes if either of the U.S.'s trading partners decide to retaliate. This week, Trump also announced new tariffs on goods from Japan, South Korea, Canada, and Brazil from next month. In the letter sent on Friday to European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, Trump wrote, "We have had years to discuss our trading relationship with the European Union and have concluded that we must move away from these long-term, large, and persistent trade deficits." Okay, what do you think is the likelihood that the trade deficit was probably caused by some stupid bullshit? We know why he has a trade deficit with us. Again, he tried to bully OPEC into lowering oil prices. They said, haha, no, raised them, gave him the big fuck you middle finger, told him to fuck off, and he was forced to get more oil from us because we were still willing to sell him a bunch of cheaper oil. It was easier for him to buy it from us, and that's how he ended up getting a trade deficit from us. He actually had a trade surplus from Canada, and then it became a deficit because of his own idiocy. Engendered by your tariff and non-tariff policy. Wait, why is this comma here? This comma should not be here. Okay, whatever. Also, this comma shouldn't be here. I'm getting triggered, okay? This is annoying. Stupid. No, I think he probably wrote this himself. It could be AI or he wrote it himself. We all know that Trump is incapable of writing. He puts punctuation in the most random of locations possible. Okay, I admit I'm a bit of a grammar Nazi. Okay, most of my family is ESL slash doesn't speak English at all. Okay, it is my responsibility to be the main English speaker of my family. Okay, I have to be a little bit of a grammar Nazi. Okay, it is what it is. Policies and trade barriers. Okay, so the non-tariff policies and trade barriers that basically exist for, well, the EU is basically like, can you please, for the love of God, have better regulations on your food products? We're not going to buy them because you pump it up with so many fucking drugs and all this HGH and shit like that, and differing antibiotics to make sure that the animals don't die instead of giving them proper facilities for them to live in. That's the main problem. They don't want just bad, wretched American products that are poorly regulated and poorly fucking made. That's the main problem. Our relationship has been, unfortunately, far from reciprocal, the letter added. In his letters to the EU and Mexico, Trump warned that if either trade partner retaliated with import duties of their own against the U.S., he would hit back by raising tariffs by a similar percentage over and above the 30%. Let's go! Trade war! It's back, baby! Season 2 of the trade war! Let's go! In a pre-recorded interview with Fox News, which aired on Saturday night, President Trump said some countries were very, very upset now, but he insisted the tariffs meant hundreds of billions of dollars were pouring in. Again, that's just not how. It's just not how that works. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work. The tariffs don't work like that. Again, I'll say it again. An import is a tax on goods that are coming into a fucking country. That is how that works. The company that is ordering a particular product, and it doesn't even have to be a company that's doing this. It could also be an individual that's ordering this, okay? There's been clips about people complaining about these import charges, okay, on like VTuber merch, for fuck's sake, or like fucking Labubus, okay? Literally, all of these extra charges get put on there because of the fucking tariff, all right? And what happens is either the corporation is forced to have to pay those taxes, and when they make the fucking final product, sell it into the U.S. market, that cost is going to be furloughed onto the U.S. consumers, because guess what? The corporations just lost a profit from having to import those products in order to make whatever product, if they're like, it's a bunch of intermediary stuff, or like it's something that's like furbished in like another country and they have to like bring it in. They're going to furlough that basically on, whoa, crazy, onto the consumers themselves, because they have to make up lost profit. It's ridiculous. You know one thing this will affect? Asian groceries of all kind. A lot of it comes through Canada. Probably through like Vancouver, if I were to take a guess, right? Boy Meets Mini? Right? That's probably like the closest port. Probably comes up through like the Pacific Northwest. That's just my guess, though. Is this his, I guess this is his interview? 32-second clip? Take a look.
The trade thing is going to be very big, and we're sending out letters as we speak. They literally just started going out, and I signed the letters, and it's basically telling...
Wait, is this like his... Wait, hold on. Did he send... What's the official letter he sent to the Europeans? Wait, hold on. Official letter sent to the Europeans. Yeah, there it is. These are the two fucking letters. I'm gonna take a look. Got a nice little zoom in. Dear Madam President, it is a great honor for me to send you this letter in that it demonstrates the strength and commitment of our trading relationship and the fact that the United States of America has agreed to continue working with the European Union despite having one of our largest trade deficits with you. again, it's not a bad thing to have a fucking trade deficit. Like, I don't know how many times this needs to be told to fucking Trump and like all these like dumbass fucking Republicans. It's not a problem. Like, you have the strongest fucking economy in the world. Like, who the fuck gives a shit if you have a little fucking trade deficit? You're an import economy. You have so much fucking economic productivity. You can easily afford to just be like, I don't know, just import products. Importing products is not a fucking problem here. He's just an idiot. Nevertheless, we have decided to move forward, but only with more balanced and fair trade. Yeah, he definitely wrote this. Why is trade randomly capitalized here? He wrote this shit. Therefore, we invite you to participate in the extraordinary economy of the United States, the number one market in the world by far. Yeah, because you guys consume the most. That's why. We have had years to discuss our trading relationship with the European Union and have concluded that we must move away from these long-term, large, and persistent. Why are you putting the "and" there? If there's a okay. Trade deficits. Why is trade deficit cap? Okay. Engendered by your tariff and non-tariff policies and trade barriers. Damn, maybe the US needs to get better at making products and actually put in some fucking regulation to make good fucking products. And then maybe people will want your dog shit fucking products. I don't know, just some food for thought. Maybe you shouldn't just make crap. And then people will want to buy it. We all know why, for example, Europeans don't buy American-based foods, because a lot of them do not withhold within European regulations. Like, not at all. Same with like American cars. The reason why Europeans don't buy, American cars, generally speaking, is because they're too big for the small streets. Europeans prefer the local brands that they fucking have. And also, like, they're just not sustainable for, European fucking roads, which tend to be smaller and made out of, like, fucking cobblestone. You think those, like, giant metal fucking boxes that, like, SUVs and pickup trucks are going to be suitable on, like, a cobblestone street? Yeah, right. Those things are going to fall apart and be torn to shreds, dude. Our relationship has been, unfortunately, far from reciprocal. Starting on August 1st, 2025, we will charge the European Union a tariff of only 30% on EU products sent into the United States, separate from all sectoral tariffs. Goods transshipped to evade a higher tariff will be subject to that higher tariff. Please understand that the 30% number you've seen is far less than what is needed to eliminate the trade deficit disparity we have with the EU. Yeah, and the tariff is not going to help any of that, because again, they're just going to be like, okay, I guess we're going to find some other trading partners, because fuck you. You're giving us this for, like, no reason? Like, what do you mean? Like, again, like I've said before, it's fine for the US to be, an import economy because of how strong its fucking economy is. They can afford to have fucking trade deficits with with countries. Like, it doesn't matter to them. What even is the trade deficit that America has with Europe? What is the trade deficit between US and the EU? $125 billion? Really? Oh man, it's only 1/8 of the proposed military budget. Very cool. Office of the United States Trade Representative. In 2024, U.S. goods exports to the European Union was 370.2 billion. Okay. Imports from the European Union totaled $605.8 billion in 2024. Again, I failed to see, like, what exactly is the issue here. Why the fuck do you care? Again, if you want your products to be desirable in Europe, make better products. Like, sometimes it really is just that simple. Like, sometimes it's just as simple as, like, okay, skill issue. Sucks to suck, you fucking losers. Maybe you should be better at making good products and not making complete slop dreck dog shit instead. Call me a radical, call me silly, call me stupid, or whatever. If you want people to buy your stuff, do a good job at making stuff. Doesn't seem particularly radical or ridiculous in my personal opinion. Well, what else do we got here? As you are aware, there will be no tariff if the European Union or companies within the EU decide to build or manufacture product within the United States. And in fact, we will do everything possible to get approvals quickly, professionally, routinely. In other words, a matter of weeks. Even if you do get that in a matter of weeks, you don't build a factory in like a couple months. That's going to take fucking years. And what economic incentive does anyone have in order to build factories within the US? There's a reason why the Chips and Sciences Act ended up fucking working and was effective in returning manufacturing. Because again, not only was there the tariffs on the particular products it was looking to target, but also economic incentives for those companies to bring manufacturing back home. Crazy. It's almost as if like tariff and trade policy is a little more fucking complicated than just randomly saying, you're tariffed, make money now. It's like, it's not a video game, Trump. It's just not how that works. It's just stupid. The European Union will allow complete open market access to the United States. They shouldn't, and they won't, because again, your products are shit. Learn to regulate them better. With no tariff being charged to us in an attempt to reduce the large trade deficit. If for any reason you decide to raise your tariffs and retaliate, then whatever the number you choose to raise them by will be added onto 30% that we charge. Please understand that these tariffs are necessary to correct the many years of European Union tariff and non-tariff policies and trade barriers. Damn, make better products. Damn, that are in accordance with European regulations, and then there won't be trade barriers and policies that get in the way. Sucks to suck, right? Which caused the large and unsustainable trade deficits against the United States. This deficit is a major threat to our economy and indeed our national security. I don't believe him for even a second. Is this like the same shit that he said to Clyde Sheinbaum? Mexico still has not stopped the cartel. Oh, he's blaming the cartels for that stuff. Dude, cartels get so many fucking American weapons that they are capable of overwhelming the fucking Mexican police, dude. Like, what the fuck do you mean? That's not Mexico's problem. That's a you problem. They already are trying to work and do everything possible to try to curtail the cartels. But guess what? If you still make drugs fucking illegal, there's always going to be a market for the fucking cartels. Sucks to fucking suck. Sounds like there's stuff that the US has to do in order to help mitigate this issue, and you could work together with Mexico in order to be able to help mitigate this problem of the fucking cartels. It's fucking stupid. The EU has been a frequent target of Trump's criticism. On April 2nd, he proposed a 20% tariff for goods from the bloc, as well as dozens of other trade partners. He then threatened to raise the EU import taxes to 50% as trade talks stalled. Washington and Brussels had hoped to reach an agreement before a deadline of July 9th, but there have been no announcements on progress. In 2024, the U.S. trade deficit with the bloc was $235.6 billion, according to the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative. Von der Leyen said the EU remained ready to continue working toward an agreement by August 1st. We will take all necessary steps that safeguard European interests, including the adoption of proportionate countermeasures if required, von der Leyen said. Few economies in the world match the European Union's level of openness and adherence to fair trade practices, which, dumbasses like Trump could give less of a fuck about. French President Emmanuel Macron said he was in very strong disapproval of Trump's announcement. If no agreement is reached, the French leader suggested the EU plans speeding up the preparation of credible countermeasures. Bernard? I don't know how to pronounce that name. The head of the European Parliament's Trade Committee described Trump's move as a slap in the face for the negotiations, because again, he doesn't really give a shit about that. He said that it was no way to deal with a key trading partner, adding that Brussels should enact countermeasures as soon as Monday. Some European leaders called for a deal with Trump. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni said in a statement she trusted a fair agreement could be reached, adding it would make no sense to trigger a trade war between the two sides of the Atlantic. Well, unfortunately for you, Giorgia Meloni, you should understand how this works since you yourself are also a fascist. Donald Trump is a fascist and a mad king, so he's just going to do whatever idiotic belligerence that he feels like doing because, again, he's just a complete fucking, well, brain is soup, can barely think. He thinks that he makes money from fucking tariffs. No, Trump. It's a fucking goddamn, whoa, crazy. Not a video game, okay? It's reality that we live in, alright? Yeah, oh, shocked. Meloni selling to Italy to the U.S.? Whoa. Dutch Prime Minister Dick Schoof said on social media that the EU must remain united and resolute in its aim to reach a mutually beneficial deal with the U.S. Germany's Association of the Automotive Industry warned about the prospect of rising costs for German car makers and suppliers and said it was regrettable that there is a threat of further escalation of the trade conflict. In his letter to Mexico's leader, Trump said the country had not done enough to stop North America becoming a narco-trafficking playground. Mexico has been helping me secure the border, but what has Mexico done? But what Mexico has done is not enough, Trump added. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum expressed confidence that a deal could be reached. We believe, based on what our colleagues discussed yesterday, that we will reach an agreement with the USA and that we will, of course, achieve better conditions, Sheinbaum said on Saturday. Again, like I said before, the only reason why the cartels are able to run roughshod on fucking Mexico is because, again, they are able to smuggle in a lot of fucking U.S. arms through the fucking Mexican through the southern border from the U.S. to Mexico, and so they get their hands on U.S. made fucking weapons, which are on another caliber in comparison to whatever bumblefuck bullshit they can probably get from like the black market or some shit. Like, it's so ridiculously obvious that under every fucking circumstance that the U.S. has a lot of power and can do so much to help take care of this problem, like, decriminalization of drugs, trying to do a better job at stopping the flow of weapons to the cartels. There's so much that they can do. They just refuse to fucking do it because Trump doesn't understand any of this stuff because he wants to accept no responsibility for anything. It's fucking ridiculous. We believe, based on what our colleagues discussed yesterday, we will reach an agreement. I said that already. We are clear on what we can work with the USA, and we are clear on what we cannot, she added. And there is something that is never negotiated, ever, and that is the sovereignty of our country. Well, I mean, Trump himself also said that he wanted to do an invasion of Mexico, right? I don't think it's hyperbolic or ridiculous to say that, it's like, yeah, we're kind of concerned about our sovereignty a little bit, Trump doesn't really seem to respect any of that. Trump's letter did not say if Mexican goods traded within the 2020 United States-Canada-Mexico agreement, or the CUM agreement, would be exempt from the proposed August 1st tariff hikes, as the White House said would be the case with Canada. Yeah, I guess they're saying this now because they know if they actually do it within that framework, that the Canadians and the Mexicans can fucking just sue them and just get those tariffs more than likely removed. Earlier this week, the White House sent a letter to Canada threatening a 35% tariff. As of Saturday, the Trump administration has now proposed tariff conditions on 24 countries in the EU, composed of 27 countries. On the 12th of April, White House Trade Advisor Peter Navarro, who's a complete fucking deranged moron, by the way, complete utter crank, just got out of fucking, I think it was federal prison for his actions and role in January 6th. Set a goal to secure 90 deals in 90 days. You want to know how many fucking deals they secured? They secured 2. That's it. One with the Vietnamese and 1 with the British. Guys, it turns out getting trade negotiations when you just threaten to randomly hit people with random tariffs makes it quite difficult. What am I saying? So far, the president has announced the outlines of 2 such pacts with the United Kingdom and Vietnam as negotiations with others continue. Hey, I just said that. Whoa. Someone says if I'm tapped into the news. Some might say. Oh, that's the end of the article. Awkward. Okay, nice meme. So, what? More tariff? Again, the season 2 of, Keeping Up with the Tariffs is here. We love that. We are so happy about the fact that Keeping Up with the Tariffs is here. Season 2. Let's go. We love talking about tariffs and doing random trade war nonsense because, again, the idiot fascist mad king in power is just doing, complete utter belligerence and nonsense, and he barely has an understanding of how the economy works. Man, who would have thought such a thing could be conceivable? Such a thing could be possible. But then again, I digress. Mad King in power barely understands how the economy works, and this is he is the Mad King in power. All of his little sycophants and toadies that are currently around him aren't going to push back on any of the idiotic nonsense that he says because, again, like I've said before, he expects complete utter allegiance and sycophancy from his fucking followers. That's the point. It's just complete utter fucking nonsense, all of this stuff. So, it's great to see that we are getting a second season of Keeping Up with the Tariffs. Very cool, very good. We love that fact. It's really cool and really great that, this complete idiotic nonsense seemingly just keeps happening for, no reason except for the fact that there's a mad king in power who barely understands how anything fucking works.